Dhanyavad. We'll start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskrityam
Narayanam Namaskritam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Yo Jayamudire
Tato Jayamudiraят.
Nastapráyeshu Bhadreshu
Nashtaprayasva Bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavate Uttama Sloke
Bhagavate Uttama Shloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki
Mukam Karoti Vachalam
Mukam Karuti Vachalam
Pangum Langhayate Girim
Pangum Langyate Girim
Yat Tamahum Vande
Yat Kripatam Aham Vande
Shri Guru Dinatarinam
Shri Gurum Dinataranam
Shri Chaitanyameshwaram
Sri Chaitanyameshwaram.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya
Om Agyanam Timiram Dhasya
Jnananjana Shalakaya
Gyananjana Shalakaya
Chakshurum Militam Yena
Chakshurulmilitam Yena
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha
Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha.
Namavam Vishnu Padaya
Nama Om Vishnupadaya
Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale
Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale
Srimate Bhakti Vedanta
Srimate Bhakti Vedanta
Swaminiti Namine
Swaminiti Namine.
Namaste Saraswate Deve
Namaste Saraswati Deve
Gauravani Pracharine
Gauravani Pracharine
Nirvishesha Shunyavadi
Nirvishesha Shunyavadi
Paschatya Deshatarine
Paschatya Deshatarine.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda
Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhara
Shri Advaita Gadadhara
Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna Krishna
Hare Krishna
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 Hare
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 Hare Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare Rama.
Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Thank you all for joining Bhagavatam discussion. We'll continue our discussion.
Yeah.
So what's the sloka? 28 today?
27, Prabhuji.
7, huh?
1:18:27.
Okay. Who is going to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Ah, Saurabh Prabhu, you're going to read?
Vikra Purna Jattacham Rora Vejana Nenacha Vishuyattalur Udakam Tata Bhutam Ayachata. Translation by His Grace, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The sage in meditation was covered by the skin of a stag, and long compressed hair was scattered all over him. The king, whose palate was dry from thirst, asked him for water. Purport: the king, being thirsty, asked the sage for water. That such a great devotee and king asked for water from a sage absorbed in trance was certainly providential. Otherwise, there was no chance of such a unique happening. Maharaja Parikshit was thus placed in an awkward position so that gradually Srimad Bhagavatam could be revealed. Vishwanath Chakravarti.
No, that's not required.
Okay.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we discussing the pastimes here. Parishit Maharaj being cursed, or the background is that what happened? Now Maharaj is on a hunting mission. So he was chasing an animal and he felt thirsty. There he saw Samika Rishi's ashram. He comes to Samika Rishi's ashram, asks for water. So in the purport also, Srila Prabhupada says it's a providential. Whole incident is providential. So, next two, three purports also, we can see that Srila Prabhupada writing and is quoting from Vishnu Chakratharkura or Jiva Goswami. The whole incident is predetermined, predestined by the Lord, will of the Lord. It is not the king who became angry, or it is not the sage who did not receive the king properly. That all this been planned here in the purport itself. Prabhupada in the last verse said gradually, because Srimad Bhagavatam could be revealed. So the king was placed in awkward position so that gradually the Bhagavatam should be revealed. So this is the leela of the Lord. We can understand. So because King is Parishit Maharaj is not an ordinary person. He would not have got angry for a small thing. At the same time, the sage Shamika also is not an ordinary sage. He would have easily received a king properly. But both incident happened. Now we'll see the next one or two slokas how the whole incident unfolds. We'll read the next one, 28.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I'll be reading 28.
Hare
Uh,
Krishna.
mm, yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 28. अलब्धतृणो भूम्यादिर् असम्प्राप्तिर्यसुनृत अवज्ञातम् इव मानं मन्यमानः Translation Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The king not received by any formal welcome by means of being offered a seat, place, water, and sweet addresses, considered himself neglected, and so thinking he became angry. Purport.
Thank you.
The law of reception in the courts of the Vedic principles states that even if an enemy is received at home, he must be received with all respects. He should not be given a chance to understand that he has come into the house of an enemy. When Lord Krishna, accompanied by Arjuna and Bhima, approached Jarasandha in Magadha, the respectable enemies were given a royal reception by King Jarasandha. The guest enemy, namely Bhima, was to fight with Jarasandha, and yet they were given a grand reception. At night, they used to sit down together as friends and guests, and in the day, they used to fight, risking life and death. That was the law of reception. The reception law enjoins that a poor man who has nothing to offer his guest should be good enough to offer a straw mat for sitting, a glass of water for drinking, and some sweet words. Therefore, to receive a guest, either friend or foe, there is no expense. It is only a question of good manners. When Maharaja Parikshit entered the door of Shamika Rishi, he did not expect a royal reception by the Rishi because he knew that saints and rishis are not materially rich men. But he never expected that a seat of straw, a glass of water, and some sweet words would be denied to him. He was not an ordinary guest, nor was he an enemy of the Rishi, and therefore the cold reception by the Rishi astonished the king greatly. As a matter of fact, the king was right to get angry with the Rishi when he needed a glass of water very badly. To become angry in such a grave situation was not unnatural for the king. But because the king himself was not less than a great saint, his becoming angry and taking action were astonishing. So it must be accepted that it was so ordained by the supreme will of the Lord. The king was a great devotee of the Lord, and the saint was also as good as the king. But by the will of the Lord, the circumstances were so created that they became ways to the king's becoming unattached to family connection and governmental activities, and thus becoming a completely surrendered soul onto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. The merciful Lord sometimes creates such awkward positions for his pure devotees in order to drag them towards himself from the mire of material existence. But outwardly, the situations appear to be frustrating to the devotees. The devotees of the Lord are always under the protection of the Lord, and in any condition, frustration or success, the Lord is the supreme guide for the devotees. The pure devotees, therefore, accept all conditions of frustration as blessings from the Lord. So here, what is happening is the king approaches Samika Rishi, and it is a normal custom that whenever any guest, uninvited or invited, comes to our house, we are supposed to give a good reception, even though he may be an enemy. Like when Krishna and Bhima went to meet Jarasandha, although Bhima was his enemy, during the daytime they used to fight, but evening they used to sit, sat and talk, and Jarasandha gave a very grand reception. So it is always told that when anyone comes, Atiti Devo Bhava is what we tell in our culture. So because they always tell that God may come in the form of a guest to our doorstep. So if we are capable, we should give them something to eat and a drink, and then talk about their well-being and sweet words. But if we don't have anything, then they tell that at least you should give a glass of water. Like if we don't have anything, and we are in a economically bad condition or financial condition, then we should give at least water. Even if water is not available, we should at least offer them a humble seat, and we should at least talk few sweet words, ask about their welfare, well-being. This is to the enemy also, we should do like that, because enemy has come to our doorstep. So irrespective of whether a person is a friend or an enemy, whoever comes to our doorstep is should be considered as a guest. So this is what here was expected, that when Maharaja Parikshit went to Shamika Rishi's ashram, he knew that he is a saint and saint will not give any grand reception because king has come, but he was expecting at least a straw mat, a glass of water to drink, and he might inquire about that. But when he sat before the Rishi, and Rishi did not even look at him or open his eyes or even inquire, then he felt very angry, and he felt maybe humiliated or insulted that the Rishi doesn't care for me and all those things. But Maharaja Parikshit need not have felt that, because he himself was a very saintly person. And saints are not supposed to get angry. Even if anyone shows disrespect or something to us, we should not get angry, and we should always go about doing our work, showing tolerance towards all living beings. But here it was divinely ordained by the Lord itself. Otherwise, how can such a great devotee of Lord like Parikshit get angry because he was not given a reception, because he was thirsty, but still he became angry at the Rishi, and then it was divinely ordained, because time had come for him to get disattached and emotionally detached to his family, his governmental duties, and his duties as a king, and all the material activities. So God set up these plans for him to exit this world, but when he exits, he may think of Lord Krishna and then exit, remove all the material contamination, whatever. Although he was not a contaminated, because he was a very pure devotee, but still, this shows that when Lord wants his devotee to come to him, he will himself make the devotee remember him and come to him. Like we tell, right, many times we might forget during our bad times, or during in the last moments, we don't know we will be able to remember Krishna or not. But if Krishna holds our hand, he will himself see to it that we will remember his name in the last moments. So we should always pray to Krishna that Krishna, even if we forget us, because we always, you are our father and friend, and a father never leaves a child. The child might leave the father's hand and run away, going this side, that side. But a father always is concerned about a child, and he will always look after wherever the child runs. He will also run behind and see to it that the child doesn't go anywhere. So father doesn't want to lose the sight of the child, even the child is naughty, plays and goes with his friends and all. So we should pray to Krishna that he never leaves our hand, and this thing. So here the whole thing is that whatever situation we are in, even if we are in the worst of the situation, basically we always keep complaining, oh, why this thing has come. Even if current is not there or water is not coming, we'll be like, oh, why this thing has come. But we should be like, thank you, God, whatever situation you have given is the best for us and beneficial for us. This is what Maharaja Parikshit showed by his last few days when he knew that death was certain to him. He went on to take the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam from Lord Shukadeva Goswami. This is what I understood, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, one more point Prabhupada raised here, that merciful Lord sometimes creates such an awkward position for his pure devotees in order to drag them towards himself, the mirror of material existence. So, as Shruti Mataji said, sometimes some bad things externally look like a bad thing for us. But if it is Lord's will, it's a good for us. Of course, for ordinary people, it can be karma, but not for Parishit Maharaj. So that is a fact here. It's not Parishit Maharaj, is not because of his karma. But for us, could be a karma. But when we have fully depend on Krishna, if something happens, then it is will of the Lord. So we should accept it wholeheartedly. Yes, Lord wants me go through this, so let me go through it. So that's why the dependent on Krishna is so important. And if you are consciously completely dependent on Krishna, whatever difficult comes, it is a boon only. We cannot take it as a curse. That's why Prabhupada, in the last sentence, he said, the pure devotees therefore accept all condition of frustration as a blessings from the Lord. So this is the key statement we should take it here. So whatever happens, it is the blessings of the Lord. It is for my benefit, so that I don't have to get frustrated. Okay, we'll read the next one.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.18.29. Abhuta sahasakshut Drubhayam arditamanah Brahmanam prati abhud Brahman Matsaryo Manyur Evacha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. O Brahmanas, the circumstances having distressed with him with extreme anger and thirst, the king directed toward the sage his anger and envy, which he had never before directed toward a Brahmana. Purport. For a king like Maharaja Parikshit to become angry and envious, especially at a sage and Brahmana, was undoubtedly unprecedented. The king knew well that Brahmanas, sages, children, women, and old men are always beyond the jurisdiction of punishment. Similarly, the king, even though he commits a great mistake, is never to be considered a wrongdoer. But in this case, Maharaja Parikshit became angry and envious at the sage due to his thirst and anger. By the will of the Lord, the king was right to punish his subject for coldly receiving him or neglecting him. But because the culprit was a sage and a Brahmana, it was unprecedented. As the Lord is never envious of anyone, so also the Lord's devotee is never envious of anyone. The only jurisdiction for Maharaja Parikshit's behavior is that it was ordained by the Lord.
Hare
Correct.
Krishna. So here also it says king's anger, envy towards the sage. We understand the anger, but it says envy also. So pure devotees like Parishit Maharaj cannot be envy at all. So that's why Prabhupada repeatedly is saying this is ordained by the Lord. In every purport, in the next one or two purport, also Prabhupada keep on saying that yes, this is the will of the Lord. Here also at least twice Prabhupada says that this is the will of the Lord. It is not king's mistake, because Lord wanted him to do that. So of course, the two reasons are given is that he was hungry and thirst. So this is the another matter as a human being or anybody for that matter. When we are hungry and thirsty, we or generally any living entity don't know what to do, because it can commit anything. Anything can be spoken, anything can be done, because that is what the body cannot tolerate that. So that's why Parshit Maharaj did that. But here he was not at all envious. But here specifically says that he was envious because there is a will of the Lord. And in the purport says that Maharaj Parishit became angry and envious at the sage due to his thirst and anger by the will of the Lord. Again, Prabhupada mentions, and finally again says, as the Lord is never envious of anyone, so also Lord's devotee is also never envious of anyone. So this is a lesson for us as practicing devotees. We should not be envious. We are talking about the Shadveris, Kama, Krodha, Mada, Matsara. So Lobha, and out of which any 5 can be engaged in Krishna service, not Matsara, not envy. So because Lord himself says, I am not envy anyone. I'm not, kind of very special to anyone, but I'm not envy anyone. But at the same time, those who worship me, I have a special care for them. Similarly, here Prabhupada says, Lord is not envious of anyone, but similarly, his pure devotees also not envious of anyone. So again, as practicing devotees, I should not be envious of anyone. Envy is very, very dangerous. Envy, we call it as no vacancy. In the spiritual world, envy has no place. So that's why Prabhupada says the only jurisdiction for Maharaj Parikshit's behavior is that it was ordained by the Lord. So everything planned by the Lord. Whatever drama, the king gets angry, sage not responding. It now next verse, see what happens. That's also will of the Lord. Let's see the next one.
Hare Krishna. I will read Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Text 30. Canto 1, chapter 18, text 30. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. स तु ब्रह्मा ऋषेरंसे गतासुम उरगम रुषा विनिर्गच्छन् धनुष्कोट्या निधाय पुरम् आगतः. Translation: While leaving, the king, being so insulted, picked up a lifeless snake with his bow and angrily placed it on the shoulder of the sage. Then he returned to his palace. Purport: The king thus treated the sage tit for tat, although he was never accustomed to such silly actions. By the will of the Lord, the king, while going away, found a dead snake in front of him, and he thought that the sage who had coldly received him thus might be coldly rewarded by being offered a garland of a dead snake. In the ordinary course of dealing, this was not very unnatural, but in the case of Maharaja Parikshit's dealing with a Brahmana sage, this was certainly unprecedented. It so happened by the will of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
So here also in the purport, the final verse, Srila Prabhupada says, is so happened by the will of the Lord. So what did the king do? He saw a dead snake. He picked up with the bow and arrow and put that dead snake on the neck of the sage. So it was tit for tat because sage did not receive king properly, and he did not receive properly. He did not even respond. He was, of course, sage was not at fault. Sage was at full trance. He was not even aware of what Parishit Maharaj came. At the same time, but king got angry. So again, what is the lesson for us? The first lesson we discussed earlier, even if the enemy comes, we should receive properly. That's when the previous purport says that here also, if there is any situation for insult, we should not respond back. We should not give tit for tat. Because we see here what happens, the tit for tat. Because he put a dead snake, now the next few verses we can see what happens. The Shamika Rishi's son, Shringi, comes and what he does that. So as a practicing devotees, as much as I should avoid, responding to any provoking situation, because that one response will lead to another response, that will lead to another response. I'll get entangled into more problems. So of course here will of the Lord, because Lord wanted Parishit Maharaj to do that, so that he is cursed and Sukadeva Goswami comes and releases Bhagavatam. That is a Lord's pastimes. But here for us, practicing devotees, even there is a provoking situation, I should be normal. That's why it said that one is successful or normal in a provoking situation. He is the really successful man. So in normal circumstances, anybody can be normal. But when a provoking situation, when something is triggered, that's the time if one successful, one is normal, that is a real successful. Prabhupada here says that it is accustomed to such a silly action for kings, but by the will of the Lord. Again, see how many times Prabhupada says here again, by the will of the Lord, king was while going away found, and again the last it happened by the will of the Lord. So throughout this few slokas and purport, Prabhupada is bringing out the will of the Lord. So we as a practicing devotees, how much we depend on Krishna's will, Krishna's action, that will make our life successful. That's why Prabhupada making on stressing that, yes, depend on Krishna. Like Krishna says, Sarva Dharma Parityajya Mameka Shran Vraja Amta Sarva Pape Mokshaya Masuchaha. So that is the conclusive word Krishna says that. Similarly, here and throughout the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying that depend on Krishna, will of the Lord. If the Lord wants, let it happen. The Lord happens good for me, let it happen. Lord wants to bad for me, let it happen. I should not be cursed, I should not be overjoyed. So I should not be overly saddened, I should not be overly disappointed. I should take it equipoised. Yes, both are equally good. We can see that in Sri Ramayana. So Ramchandra, Bhagavan was supposed to be coronated. The previous day, Dasharath Maharaj called him and said, "Yes, tomorrow you will be coronated. Get ready for that." The whole night, something happened. Kaikeyi asked for a boon, and the boon that Lord Ram has to be sent to the forest. So next day morning, he got a news that he had to live the 14 years in the forest. Lord Ram, when the previous day also he was not overjoyed to become king, and next day when he was asked to go to the forest, he was not oversaddened. He was equally equipoised. So that is the mood we should, as practicing devotees, should take it as much as possible. We should take it as will of the Lord. Yes, let it happen. Let me go through it, because that going through it will make us strong. Because today, the society, people are not able to take difficulties. When daily, if you see newspaper, TV, anywhere, how many suicides or how many people are committing unwanted things because they cannot take difficult things. Little difficulty, they become shattered because they don't know how to take difficulties. That's why we should go through it, the difficult situation, experience it, no problem. Krishna is there, he will definitely protect. Avashya Raksha by Krishna, he is there to protect. That's a strong faith. If is there, yes, we'll be able to come out. Okay, we'll stop here. Devotees can add comments. Sumit Prabhu, anything you want to add? Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go.
so like these all verses which we have read, everything like explaining the same thing, that whatever happened, this happened due to the will of the Lord. So there is a divine plan, so that the aim was to like give the world the knowledge of the Bhagavatam, and because of that, this all thing happened. So like we can see like how the orchestration happens. The king got thirsty. So that is the Lord's arrangement to begin a divine sequence. So once that happens, then the sage silence, we can see how it's a test of perception and ego, and then the king's reaction, that is a catalyst for the renunciation, and then finally the curse happened. That is actually accelerated the whole thing. Then he want the 7 days to be immersed in the thought of the Lord. So for all these things to be accelerated, Lord has made this plan. And when we see the renunciation, because of the renunciation, that transcendental narration happened by Shukadev Goswami. So finally, that is not only told to Parikshit Maharaj, but it is revealed to the whole world. So that is the plan which the Lord has, and for that, all this pastime happened. So this is the will of the Lord. And one more thing we can see, like everyone is an instrument in Lord's hand, and Lord specific, especially the devotees, Lord in His plan, He uses the devotees in a wonderful way. In that way, that the devotees are also glorified. Like Parikshit Maharaj, even if you see his birth is also glorified and his death is also glorified. So he saw the Lord in the womb of his mother. So I don't know any other personality who has seen the Lord in the womb of his mother, apart from Prahlad Maharaj, who listened about the Lord. But he got the Sakshat Darshana, Parikshit Maharaj, and finally, at the time of his death, that is also glorified because he was one focused. He was into the listening of the passing of the Lord and concentrating on the Lord. So that is the divine plan of the Lord to propagate the Bhagavatam to the whole world.
Hare Krishna. Uma Shankar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
So as it is described that whatever happens, it is because of the will of the Lord, and we in the are the instruments of Him. So whatever happens, we should accept it, whether it's a good or bad or anything. So we should act according to the will of the Lord. We should not go beyond the guidelines that is provided by the Shastras. That is like following the four regulatory principles, chanting, everything. So if you follow that itself, that is more than sufficient, Prabhuji. Right.
Hare Krishna. Varsha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for the class. So today's understanding and takeaway is that whatever happens, happens for, with Parikshit Maharaj, it was all predestined to reveal Bhagavata. And I should take everything as God's blessing and not to take anything to head, be it happiness or sadness or whatever. And I should behave properly with everyone, like be it enemy or anyone. And I should try to control myself, not to give back. Not to That's what, not to give back, and to have a patience, Prabhuji. That's what I thank
Krishna.
you.
Vidya Mataji. Vidya Prabhu.
ಹರೇ ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಪ್ರಭುಜಿ.
Mataji.
ಎನಿಮಿ ಎನಿಮಿ ಬಂದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಸತ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಅತಿಥಿ ಸತ್ಕಾರ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೋ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಎನಿಮಿ ಆದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಸತ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಪ್ರವೋಕಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಕಾಮ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ನಾವು ಪ್ರವೋಕಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ರೈಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬಾರ್ದು. ಮತ್ತೆ ದೇವ್ರು ಏನು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೋ ಅದೇ ತರಾನೇ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಕಷ್ಟ ಸುಖ ಏನ್ ಬಂದ್ರು ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಆಗಿ ತಗೋಬೇಕು. ಇದು ನಾನಿವತ್ತು ತಗೊಂಡೆ ಪ್ರಭುಜಿ.
Thank you, Mataji. Shruti Mataji. Anything else you want to add?
Hare Krishna, nothing, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Sridevi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Here in these verses, Maharaja Parikshit was hunting, and on the way he felt thirsty and saw a hermitage and went inside to ask for water. There he saw a sage sitting in trance and meditating, Saimik Rishi. Since sage was in trance, such a great king was not welcome. Usually, when guests come to a house, he should be welcomed nicely with at least a glass of water, sweet words, etc. So even an enemy comes to a house also, he should be equally respected. Here, Maharaja Parikshit was neglected, so he got angry and threw a dead snake on the sage. Here we should understand that the sage being in trance and Maharaja Parikshit getting angry is all the plan and will of the Lord. to create the situation where Srimad Bhagavatam will be revealed. The sage and Maharaja Parikshit both are great devotees of the Lord. Here in 26th, Srila Prabhupada says that the king knew that Brahmanas, sages, children, women, and old men are always beyond the law of punishment. So the king was right to punish his subject for coldly receiving him or neglecting him. But because the culprit was a sage and a Brahmana, it was unprecedented. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Saurabh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much for the wonderful class and the beautiful illustration and the entire also the Gaurav Bhakta for joining. And whatever I understood that there's a very Bengali proverb that's saying okay, whatever had happened is happened for good, whatever is happening for good, and whatever is going to happen is happening for good. I am thinking that is bad because it's not going to in my way. So whatever has it has illustration in our Srimad Bhagavatam or the Parikshit Maharaj story, Palla 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 story, always there is very just two sentence in English, A double C E P T accept and E X E C P T expect. So never expect from the God or whatever God giving you, just accept it. Because he is supreme personality of Godhead. We are the only the instrument and he is the supreme personality of Godhead. So he knows better than us what is better for us. So whatever the happening the situation is, we have to accept it. We have to accept that whatever God is doing for me, it is for my welfare in the long run. Maybe not, maybe I'm thinking that it is what is happening with me. It's अगर ये थोड़ा better होता, it will be better for me, then it will be good for me. But in the long run, it's my personal experience. I'm telling you, in the long run, it happened many times for me. It benefited me. So it's I'm going to request all kinds of Gaurav whatever is happening with us, just accept it, not expect from anything from the supreme personality, because he knows what is better for us. Yeah, and yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Lakshmi Mataji, anything?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
from text 28 to 30, in 6 places, Acharya is written by the will of the Lord, by the will of the Lord. So all the 6 sentences I want to read again, Prabhuji. Please excuse me, I will read all the 6.
Sure.
One is in text 28. Because the king himself was not less than a great saint, his becoming angry and taking action were astonishing. So it must be accepted that it was so ordained by the supreme will of the Lord. 1. In the same paragraph, but by the will of the Lord, again it is coming. The circumstances were so created that they became ways to the king's becoming unattached to family connection and governmental activities, and thus becoming a completely surrendered soul unto the lotus feet of the Lord. In the same paragraph, the last line, the pure devotees therefore accept all conditions of frustration as blessings from the Lord. In text 29, but in this case, Maharaja Parikshit became angry and envious at the sage due to his thirst and anger by the will of the Lord. In the last line, the only justification for Maharaja Parikshit's behavior is that it was ordained by the Lord. In text 30, but in the case of Maharaja Parikshit dealing with the Brahmana sage, this was certainly unprecedented. It so happened by the will of the Lord. So everything happened as per the will of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mariappan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Very precious and very important and very precious lesson for all the devotees especially. And Parikshit Maharaja is cursed. The entire incident is transcendental and planned Leela of Supreme Lord. Anyone comes, enemy or friend, must be received wholeheartedly and provide all possible honor, hospitality is being emphasized, and that is the absolute civilization. But here, in case of Parikshit Maharaja, an awkward situation is created by the will of the Lord with very high transcendental status motive behind, dependent on Krishna, and faith on Krishna is very important here. Very important lesson here. It is not the mistake of Parikshit Maharaja, but he was not envious on Rishi. It is the circumstances. It is absolutely the purposeful circumstance is created with a divineful motive behind it. Devotees shall never be envious. And casually, Parikshit Maharaja picked up the dead snake and insulted the rishi. As practicing devotee, I should not commit a blunder and always be patient at times and not to be provoked. Dependent on Krishna and faith on Krishna will enable me to successfully take forward my life. Ramayana coronation is the perfect example for us how to maintain the mood from Lord Rama in balanced manner of both positive and negative decisions. That much I understood, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Asha Mataji.
Prabhuji, everyone explained Hare Krishna, but one thing is clear that the Supreme creates situations which is maybe at the outset it may look not so good, but as Saurav Prabhuji said, in the long run, definitely that situation will be favorable to the devotee or anybody for that matter. That situations are created by him with the purpose. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Sure. So we'll end here.
Prabhuji, I have one question, please. I'm sorry for interrupting. Prabhuji, Srila Prabhupada's one of the most famous quote is ke, I will build a house in which the entire world can live. So I'm one of his house. I mean, in a temple. So in temple or outside temple, if I have to every day, every single day, I used to meet of people of which with different mindset. So in that sense, how please guide me? How do I increase my toleration level? Because I have to make so in kind of preaching or any kind of other service, I have to tolerate many kind of things, many kind of persons. So would you please guide me in how or what takeaways I should take to increase my toleration level for my spiritual benefit in the future, please?
When you say tolerance means you get provoked or you get disturbed by this, or what is that?
Or this not putting unnecessary things. Small things are unnecessary things because वो कहते हैं कि just think big.
Yeah.
इसके वो सिर्फ वो बता कि simple living and high thinking सिर्फ वो कहते थे. But each and every person who is very much busy with small things, very much busy with small things, and they blaspheme each and everybody putting a very small thing and unnecessary things. So chalo, but I each and every single time I used to tolerate कि बस ठीक है बाद में देख लेंगे. But it's a human mind. It's a Kali Yuga human. How should I tolerate each and every time? So could you please? I would like to have your guidelines how to increase my tolerance.
See,
Tolerance level, please.
generally outside people, there could be very nice people also.
Yes, I have experienced that. Yeah.
They're karmis, but externally they behave so nicely. They have all etiquettes, they have good behavior, everything, but they're not devotees.
Correct.
There are devotees, but their behavior may not be as pleasant as them.
Ji.
So the varieties we can see, but for us, the person devotee with unpleasant behavior is better than the pleasant behavior outside.
Okay.
Because at least this person worships the Krishna and chants Krishna's name.
Understood.
That is why even if he does that, that is better for us. Maybe some way he is burning my karma. One of
अच्छा ठीक है okay.
somewhere I did gets cleansed. That is the one. And also understand that ISKCON is a place, is a kind of training center, is hospital.
Yeah.
Is coming here to get trained or get
Mhm.
cured
Purified.
diseases. So in the process, I will get agitated.
To
That's a common, that's a normal. So we can't expect everybody to
no.
be pure devotees overnight.
To cure myself, I have to take more bitter medicines also.
True.
Sometimes, yeah.
So, and another thing, understand that Krishna puts a person in a more difficult situation who capable of taking more decision, more, the such power. So, if you get such kind of situation, we should understand that yes, Krishna thinks that I can take more difficulties. That's why he put me in the situation. So I should be thankful to Krishna.
He's making me more capable, more strong, more experienced,
True.
more wise.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhuvyo patitanam
पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः
ananta
अनंत
koti
अनंत कोटि
vaishnavrinda
वैष्णव भक्त
ki
वृंद की
jai.
जय
ग्रंथरा श्रीमद्
श्रीमद्
भागवतम की
भागवतम की
जय.
जय
श्रील प्रभुपाद की
पाद
जय.
की जय
समवेत
गौर
भक्त वृंद की
वृंद की जय
जय. Hare
गौर
Krishna.
प्रेमानंद हरि हरि बोल
See you tomorrow.
Prasadekar Prabhuji class.